the question is, how can founder owners plan more effectively?
Well, so it's interesting. So if you go get a financial plan in our industry, I mean, it's almost a commodity, right? Not necessarily for the average person. It can be extremely helpful, and it is extremely helpful.
Sure.
But for a business owner, a financial plan will get stale in about 6 months for all the reasons you described, right? Because a plan is often built just for the personal financial view of what somebody is. But if it's not sensitive to not only to the illiquid wealth that you have, but also how your cash flow changes as you make decisions about,
That's
like
right.
you said, every owner wants to reinvest in the business for growth for the most part, right? I mean, some harvest it and whatnot, but let's assume you're that owner who wants to grow their business for the next 10 years, and you're making that decision to reinvest in there. If you don't have a balance, and like you said, life starts to intervene, you can really get off track. And if something happens in the business or you personally, you can find yourself in a really tough spot, often in an illiquid spot. And it changes the beneficial exit you can have, the lifestyle that you want to lead, the harmony in your family. I mean, so many examples can happen to that. So how do you avoid that, right? So if you're a business owner and want to engage in planning, how do you avoid those kind of outcomes, or at least minimize, the potential of that outcome?
Yeah. And I think when we talked originally, you expressed this idea of having a dynamic plan versus a static plan. Tell me more about that.
Right. Well, so, and it's by way of backdrop, and, we all know that Hollywood entrepreneur who can hole up in their, either their parents' basement or somewhere where, they're single and they've got no obligations.
Yeah, there's no responsibilities.
No responsibility. They work 24/7 on the business and just, have a celebrity IPO, and they've created wealth, and they're and it's liquid, and they don't have anything to worry about.
Right.
Most owners and founders don't go on that journey at all, right? Nope. It's a very different journey.
Very different.
And what happens is, and we even have a client or two that this has happened, where they started a business as a single entrepreneur, but before they know it, they're married, they have kids, and they're starting to put them in schools, often a private school. And yet they're still heavily investing in the business, and there is risk there, right? And I'm not saying don't invest in the business, but be aware we've got to create a balance. So, and that's why we talk about a static plan that gets stale in 6 months for a business owner. You want a dynamic plan, and the way we've approached that is to say a very simple concept. We call it the 3 R's. For every dollar that your business generates, you have 3 choices. You can either reinvest in the business. You can reward yourself with a salary of some kind or a distribution, or you can repurpose it into a diversified place for wealth. So those are the 3 R's. You can reinvest, reward, or repurpose. And what so many entrepreneurs do is reinvest, and they often reinvest, and they keep reinvesting, pursuing growth, and that's fine. But you do ultimately, that's the dynamic plan starts to say, okay, let's look at you independently from your business as well, because one day when you exit, you will become independent, and independence requires financial freedom. It requires no more financial draw from the company. So you want to know what that target is, and that's kind of the North Star. How much is enough for you? And then create enough liquid wealth to be able to give you that cushion along the way, so that you're not all in on the company and hoping that it all works.